So it's time to try and duplicate everything on this side that I have already done on the other side. I've done the top of the fender and the inner fender and now this little piece up top here, and I've decided that I needed to give myself some guidance for this piece. This is a pretty complicated piece. It's compound shape. It rolls in both directions. It has to be wheeled and shaped with both the shrinker stretcher and the English wheel. Now the advantage I have on this side that I didn't have on the other side is I have the other side to guide off of. I made a duplicate flange over here which will be used for bolting the fender to the bumper structure, and I took one of the flanges, which is the flange that backs up the bumper, and I attached a piece of sheet metal temporarily to it to keep it square and level. This piece is just stiffening this up also because this is just a piece of 50 thousandths and it would be wiggling all the way up, so keeping it in that location would be difficult. So now I've got it permanently welded to where it's going to be welded here and then back down here on the bottom side, and it's pretty rigid, so that now I can effectively shape my piece and lean on this piece and know that it's not going to move forward or backwards while I'm leaning on it or trying to shape the piece. Okay, so now I've finished filling in this bottom piece and this piece over here also, which completes this side of the bumper. And I've removed that temporary piece from the back side of the flange, so all that remains is the flange itself, and everything's just tacked on. I'll finish welding everything up once I take this bumper off, set it on the bench. That way I won't risk melting these plastic headlights. So I've just added the bottom bar. Everything's just tacked into place. Again, I'll remove all of these brackets and so forth to weld them up off the car as to not damage, for instance, that aluminum condenser and with welding hot balls. So when I'm done, I'll pull all these braces and brackets off and I'll finish them out and then paint them and reinstall them on the car. But this is going to receive the roll pan. As you can see, it's a little bit higher than the bottom of the radiator and the condenser, but that's where it wants to be for the look. And I'll just be adding some sort of an air dam to the bottom to kind of dress it out to where you can't see that from the forward section or something along those lines. But that's the plan so far. I have to start working on this lower roll pan here in order to complete this center section above the roll pan and just below the grill work here, tying it in across here all the way across and then back down again. There's a temporary piece in there, but that's just that was just a mock-up to see where I was going a little bit. And hopefully I'll have to drill out the brackets that attach the top section on the inside of the hood so that I can put some capture nuts there so that everything will bolt back in the same location once I'm finished here. But I have a little bit more work here to do and to finish out this this front bumper, which is one of the more complicated parts of the car, believe it or not, but it's also key to the look of the car. This is what's going to either make it or break it, so I have to be very careful and very deliberate about the way I go about this. I'm trying to finish out the corner of the fender and how it interplays with the roll pan. I've got the roll pan made up now, and it's just clecoed in place along this bar here in two locations. I drilled through the bottom and have 2 quarter-20 nuts, one on either, spaced out here. They're going to be about 16 inches apart across the entirety of the lower roll pan, and they're captured nuts welded on the inside, and then it's just bolted up from the bottom. That'll hold it here. And of course this is going to be rosette welded to this lower flange that I showed you earlier. And now in order to finish out this is probably one of the most complex pieces I'm gonna have to make, because it's got a reverse and then it swales out this way, and then it also takes a curve in this direction. So that's going to be a real tricky piece to make. But of course I don't have enough material left over from the quarter panel because of the way I had to cut it in order to get it to shape around the bumper here. So this is pulled up quite a bit because it's not meant to do that. As a quarter panel, it's meant to come straight out. So when I cut it along this body line here, there's not enough material to carry this line out level with this body line in the front fender here. So I've taken a piece of 3/8 tubing, which extends down the ways a little bit, and this is going to be my guide where to bring the rest of this sheet metal to finish out the lower corner of this fender, and then it'll give me a start point of where I can finish this lower corner here. I'm going to be adding a flange here on both this piece, and that's where this fender will actually bolt to the roll pan at this flange line right here. This piece is just a temporary piece just to stabilize this and make sure that it's level with the bottom of the roll pan over here. This basically guided the location and the length of the roll pan. That's why this is still exposed at the bottom. We couldn't bring it any lower without it looking kind of goofy. I would have had to extend this down, and that would have been a little bit too fat. It's already looking a little bit pudgy because of the nature of the fact that this doesn't have the long overhangs like the original 71 did. But that's part of the look of the rendering, so I think it'll work out fine. I hope it will anyway. So I'm just going to continue on with it. That's it for now. So I shaped the piece to go up under here and finish out this area here, this transition. It kind of rolls under here, comes over here from this body line, and follows this body line around here. I'll straighten this a little wobbly. I'll straighten this out after the piece is applied. What I'll do now is I'll tack this to this existing fender, and then I'll slice through it with a ziz wheel so that I'll have a nice even joint there that I could weld up this seam here and blend this piece to this piece. Also filled in this. It's sunk in a little bit. I'll have to wait till I get the fender off to beat this back out. It's a little bit caved in from the heat. You can see it's a little wiggly here. But yeah, a little back and forth. It doesn't look too bad. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So with this lower corner filled in now, I can proceed to this final closure here, which will be, this will be attached to the fender. This will be the fender itself, and the fender's going to wrap around underneath. It's going to make a break right here. This is the end of the roll pan, and what I've done is I made these two brackets. One's welded to the end of the roll pan. It holds the shape of the roll pan. And this one will bolt to it. This will create the seam. It's just going to be a simple nut and bolt setup going through, and you could probably put it together with the car raised. It's going to be a little difficult here, but I'm just going to bolt this flange to that flange, and that'll give me a spot to start my corner piece. It'll be welded up on this side, of course, and it'll be welded along this top edge because it'll be part of this fender closure. But this is how the roll pan and the fender will bolt together. Well, it was a bit of a bear with all the reverses and the compound shapes and everything, but finally got the lower corner of the fender in, and it's connected up to the roll pan there, and so got to get all that welded up, final welded, and then it's rinse and repeat over on that side. Lots to do to get caught up on that side, so probably be a little bit before I make another video. Because it's just going to be probably more of the same of what I've already done. If I do something new, I'll post it. Anyway, that's about it for now. Thanks.